in the room today, we've got a number of folks. We've got a lot of experts from the technology space. We have some of the best marketers in the world here in Amsterdam, and we've got the creative folks here in the room with us today. And the intent is to continue a dialogue that we've started not just last year at the last symposium here, but continue the dialogue that we started, even for those of you that have been to all the Adobe summits across Utah or back in London. These are conversations that allow us to share what our concerns are, what our experiences are, and what it is that we're worried about and what we're working on together. So that's what today is supposed to be. And you know, the digital transformation we're all going through, it's difficult, it's challenging, but at the same time, it is a big opportunity for us to solve together and work together with. So let's think about that. All right. So what are we actually worried about? You guys are familiar with every year Adobe does this the digital roadblock study. Right? And this is where we ask 1,000 marketers from around the world, what keeps you up at night? You know, marketers from Europe, from Japan, from North America, what keeps you up at night? And you can see in the numbers here, again, you know, it's not earth-shattering, but again, the numbers are telling us that over three quarters of us are saying that marketing has changed in the last 2 years more so than in the last 50 years. And over 2/3 of us are saying that if our company does not have a digital strategy, we don't have a chance of succeeding. But maybe what's more interesting is the fact that, you know, when we look at the numbers and we ask you folks in the room, how do you feel about your proficiency in digital marketing? Less than half feel like you're proficient in digital marketing, which is kind of a surprise because, you know, again, this is performance anxiety in our own world, and this is something that we have to address together. And if you think about it, why are we anxious? It's because things are changing for us. We all know that it's all about the customer experience nowadays. The experience is really the new brand, and we are developing experiences for consumers that are very connected. They're hopping in and out of channels, they're moving across devices. You know, if I think about how the customer journey happens, right? I think about my own home. You know, my wife is always researching our next holiday. So she does her research on her laptop, right? Finding out all kinds of information. Then later on, she jumps on her iPad and she actually transacts. She buys her airline tickets for the family. She books her hotel. She's doing that, you know, from the living room on her iPad. And then you know what she does next is when it's time to actually travel, she checks in on her mobile device. And once she checks in on the mobile device, she prints out the boarding pass on the app. So very simple use case, but what we're saying is consumers are jumping in and out of different channels and different devices, and our experience has to be consistent through the whole thing, right? It is our brand, and it has to be consistent across the whole process, consistent and complementary. So these are the things that we are worried about. We're worried about what is the experience and how is our brand being perceived. So maybe the question is, and this is stuff we're going to be talking about today, maybe the question is, how prepared are you to address customer experience, right? So again, because we like to put data in front of you guys, through another study that we conducted, we talked to over 455 marketers across Europe, and we did it with the analyst firm PAC, and we asked them questions about where is their company in relation to being prepared for customer experience, and where is it on the agenda of the CEO board, on the board level, right? And you can see the numbers. Again, you know, I have my own thoughts, but it's not overly surprising. You've got almost 70% of the companies are saying, yes, this is now sitting at the CEO level. This is a strategy that we address. It's not just marketers. It's at the CEO level. We also see that just below that, another 21% are saying, you know what, no, it's not yet at the CEO level. It's not at the board level, but it will be. It will be soon, and it's going to be something that we have to action immediately. And maybe, you know, for me, the biggest finding here is the 10%. There's the 10% that say, you know what, it is not a board level agenda item. It is not something that our executive team is worried about. And I don't think there's action that needs to be taken. So I'm not exactly sure who these companies are or what their products are. I guarantee you they're probably not in the room today sitting next to you. So it is something that we see as being extremely important. The customer experience is extremely important for identifying and delivering what our brand is to consumers. So then lastly, maybe the third study we did, just to get a grip on where everything is going, is in a study we did with e-consultancy. We asked marketers to evaluate their company on how creative they are, how design-led is their company, and then we also asked them, how mature are you on the scale of customer experience maturity? Now, there's a lot of data that came out of the study, but what it does tell us is the folks on the left that said, you know what, we are very design-led, we are very creative, it's in our core. These are the folks that also rate themselves as being very mature in the customer experience journey. Conversely, on the far right, you see the folks that say, we are not design-led, we are not a creative company. And these are the folks that say, and you know what, we are very immature in the customer experience journey, and this is where we need to be moving. But I guess the takeaway here is content and experience, design and experience, right? We all know that it takes great design to deliver great content. It takes great content to actually engage with customers. And that engagement means that we are building the experience and driving sort of the loyalty and the revenue generation that you're looking for in your experience program. So again, this room here is filled with creative folks, with marketing folks, and with technologists, and these three studies sort of line up the reason why design, content, and experience are so important. So all of these findings help us at Adobe validate what's important to us, right? So at Adobe, we always talk about, marketers have to focus on the intersection of content and data, right? Art and science, left brain and right brain. We always talk about how important that is. And in today's environment, there's a massive amount of content that we need to be creating. We need to be making a massive amount of content to make it real, to make it personalized, and make the experience come to life. Not only that, we have to manage a ton of data, right? So we have to, whether it's our digital assets or our libraries or our shared capabilities, these things need to be shared across many constituents. It has to be a process where we ensure that the marketers, the web developers, agencies, everyone across the board has access to the assets to managing the capability. And finally, the last thing we focus on is making sure that we're able to measure, right? So it's all about ROI and ensuring that our customer experience is delivering on the promise that we set forth as far as what we're investing in the business. So you've heard us talk about this before. Our mission statement is always about changing the world through digital experiences. Well, maybe the reality is our mission statement is changing the world through digital and through experiences, and that's what you're going to hear a lot about today. So if that is our company strategy, how do we make it actionable? How do we make it actionable for our clients and for everyone in the room? It's no secret. Our focus is to make sure that we are advancing the state of the art for content by delivering the tools, the services, the platform that allow you to do those things. To harness the power of data. This is capturing, cataloging, and exploiting the massive amount of data that's available for us today. And then finally, at the end of the day, it's all about the end result is to make sure that we're driving and enabling the digital transformation. So maybe to summarize where we are as far as a company, it's no secret, right? So Adobe goes to market with a cloud platform. And in that cloud platform, we focus on enabling three major workflows, right? So whether it's providing the industry-leading creative tools and services across the board, or optimizing the document workflow or e-signature process, or more importantly today, it's about providing the industry's most complete and integrated digital marketing capabilities and solutions through our digital marketing platforms. it is about making sure that we are providing a single platform, an end-to-end workflow. And so what I can tell you is the best part of my job, aside from being with you guys in these types of environments, the best part of my job is to spend time with clients. And most of the time I'm spending my time with CMOs, chief digital officers, and asking them what's driving their business, what's important to them. And across the board, the most common thing I hear is it's all about developing a platform that they can standardize across the entire enterprise with and ensure that they're driving workflow automation in the marketing space. So this is, the question is, how can you give me a platform that takes my end-to-end process as a CMO or a CDO and optimize my workflows, right? So it doesn't even really matter what industry you're in, right? So it is making sure that we're creating the collaboration between digital designers and web developers, like I said, agencies, marketers, et cetera. But no matter what industry you're in, you could be, I talk to the retailers, and retailers are saying things like, I need to grow my business and hold headcount flat. So how do I do that? How do I optimize my end-to-end workflow? It's about how do I take a photo shoot and get it onto Photoshop? How do I take my runway, how do I take my whole runway process and turn it into a website process? And how do I take all that content and deliver, content and messaging across all marketing touch points, whether I'm delivering it online or offline? It doesn't matter if you're in retail, if you're in the media space. We talk about how in the media space we're transforming content, consumption, and consumer behavior across the board. In the media space, more than anyone else, these guys have gone through massive transformation, and digital platforms have driven that, right? For them, it's all about creating content once and deploying it across multiple channels, multiple devices, and making sure that the experience is beautiful, it's elegant, and it is one that is enjoyed across the board. It's about engaging high value audiences and using personalized entertainment to keep them engaged, to keep them tuned in and watching programs, and delivering that messaging across both legacy and emerging platforms. And the media guys are also saying, I want to make sure my subscribers have access to my programs. I want to make sure that through over-the-top authentication services, I can deliver TV programs or publications anytime or anywhere. And that's what I need my digital platform to provide for me in an optimized way. And then finally, just quickly, my favorite is in the financial services space. This is an area that has been going through a digital transformation for a long time. They are very good at using technology, and this is an area where we've seen massive change. This is about taking the customer experience and really moving it from, in the days it was mostly about brochureware sites, and today it's banking on the authenticated side of the business, true banking in an online world or through mobile apps. That is all being enabled through the digital platform. And it's also about providing the single view of the customer and the ability to deliver products across the board that are also engaging and hitting the right constituents. So, like I said, this is all about ensuring that we are providing a single platform that can be used across the enterprise to automate workflows from end to end. And that's what we're talking about today. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And through the rest of the day, we're going to hear from your colleagues, your constituents. You'll hear from other practitioners and some Adobe folks about how we are reinventing marketing on a go-forward basis. So with that, I'm really excited about today's session. I'm excited that you let me kick it off for the last 10 minutes or so. So as a starter, I want to bring to life what, at the enterprise level, what new workflows can look like. And I want to do that by bringing up my two colleagues from Adobe. So I'd like to introduce you to Jamie Brighton and Iona Waters. Guys, why don't you come on up and show us how it's done? All right? Thank you very much.
So the reinvention that Mark was talking about requires people, process, and technology. And at Adobe, we've been reimagining the creative and design workflows and the way in which the Creative Cloud and the Marketing Cloud can combine together seamlessly to support this. And we're going to jump straight into a demo because we think this is probably the best way to sort of show you how these things can work together. So Iona and I will be playing the roles of two members of the Cmo.com editorial team. I'll be working in the Marketing Cloud, Iona in the Creative Cloud. You can see Cmo.com behind me on screen. If you aren't familiar with the platform, I really do encourage you to go and have a look at the content there. Cmo.com is actually part of Adobe's content strategy, and it's a way that we reach marketers and understand the conversations that are going on in digital marketing and some of the challenges that people like yourselves are actually facing. And we're going to look at a scenario here in terms of how we feed the content marketing machine at Cmo.com and how we can get new content published and optimized for our customers. One of the goals that we've got with the content on Cmo.com is obviously to get people to register for an account so that we can engage with them in multiple different channels. And we want them to complete the registration form on the Cmo.com platform. That's going to be part of the goal as we run through this demonstration. We're going to look at how we can drive more people to complete that process and then communicate with them once they actually go through those steps. So our demo scenario actually starts in the Adobe Marketing Cloud. And this is where the team at Cmo.com can understand exactly how content that they're producing is performing, what sort of subscriptions they're getting, what comments are being placed on the content. It's a way of understanding really how the business is performing. Now, what I've got today specifically is to publish an article with a guy called Dara Brady, who's the head of digital experience at Ryanair, the airline. And I've been given some assets, and I've got a brief that I want to share with Iona from the Marketing Cloud to the Creative Cloud in order to get something engaging from those assets. So what I need to do is go into the Assets section of the Marketing Cloud from the left-hand menu. And this will then give me the ability to create a collaboration space, which I can share between my account on the Marketing Cloud and Iona's account on the Creative Cloud. Now, this is a live demo, so fingers crossed, but we may be slow based on the Wi-Fi. It's a fairly straightforward process. All I've got to do is come in, create a folder, and I'll just give it a name, new article template, hit create, and then I can drag and drop assets from my desktop onto the browser in order to sync them. So what I've got here, as I say, is an image that Dara's team have provided us with, and a PDF brief that I'm going to share with Iona so that she knows what I'd like her to create. And in this case, what I'd like her to do is come up with some variants of the image of Dara so we can run some A/B tests on the Cmo.com site to see which one generates more people, more interest in people, and gets more people to register. Now, I've got those assets uploaded into my folder, and now all I've got to do is come back into this view, hover over the folder, click on the cloud icon, and that then gives me the ability to share this from the Marketing Cloud to the Creative Cloud. Now, as I type Iona's name, you'll see that it's pre-populated because I've communicated and worked with her before. You'll also hopefully notice that it's really easy from this actual screen for me to manage new relationships with new creatives that I'm working with, new organizations that I might want to share assets with and work with across the clouds. So I'm going to click Share at this point, and now behind the scenes, the Marketing Cloud is syncing these assets with the Creative Cloud. Iona's going to see all sorts of alerts on her various devices and in the Creative Cloud, letting her know that there's a new job for her to work on and some new assets to work with. And so with that, what I'd like to do is actually hand it over to Iona to look at the creative experience.
So, as a member of the Creative Cloud, I not only have access to the world's leading creative desktop applications, but also a whole host of powerful, connected mobile applications, as well as all of my synchronized assets and tools. This is all made possible via Creative Sync, which is powered by the Creative Cloud platform, and it means that I can actually begin or continue my work wherever I may be. And as Jamie mentioned, right on cue, I've actually received a notification via the Creative Cloud mobile application onto my Apple Watch that Jamie has asked to collaborate on some assets, and there's also some comments that I could read attached to those assets as well. Now, I could accept that invitation and view those comments on the watch itself, but I'm currently out of the office. But I have my iPad with me and some really powerful mobile tools loaded onto the iPad via the Creative Cloud, so I can continue my creative process directly from here. So let's first of all jump into the Creative Cloud mobile application. on the iPad, and I've got a notification in here. There we go. That's the folder that Jamie shared with me via the Marketing Cloud. I am going to accept that, and we'll just give the Wi-Fi a little bit of a second to refresh. Let's just refresh that screen there. There we go. And instantly, I'll have access to view these files. So I can see in there the image of Dara and also the brief. So I'm very clear as to what it is that he requires of me. The other important part of this connected workflow is something called Creative Cloud Libraries. Now, Creative Cloud Libraries synchronize across all of my mobile applications and desktop applications, and I can access these assets from within those applications and also add assets to them. The other thing that I can do is to share these libraries with the rest of my creative team. So, for example, I have the Cmo Style guide all collected together with my collaborators on here. So we've got access to things like the logo, we've got color palettes in there, we've got some iconography, we've also got some text styles and formatting styles and that sort of thing. So this means that we're all working with the same branding. Any changes that are made to these assets will be updated across all of the various different compositions where we've used these assets. So we're always remaining constantly up to date using the same content. So the other thing that I can do from within this application, from within my desktop applications and across my mobile applications as well, is access my Adobe stock license. So this runs alongside my Creative Cloud account, and it means that I can search for over 44 million beautiful royalty-free vector graphics, images, etc. We've got 4K video coming very shortly to that as well. So I can search for something like runway, which is going to be a background I'm going to add to this particular image. And then from Adobe Stock, I've got various different options as to what I do with these images. So if I select this one here, I could actually license this image immediately, so I get the full resolution version of it. But actually what I want to do is audition a few different images. So a better way for me to work is to actually save a preview image with a watermark on it to one of my Creative Cloud libraries. And now I'll be able to license that image from directly within the desktop software later on within the library. And then that image will be replaced, the preview image, by the full resolution image. And all of those edits that I've already done in the various different compositions where I've used it will be applied to that. Okay, so let's actually get on with the creative process, as I've mentioned. I'm going to jump into an application called Photoshop Mix, and I've loaded this image of Dara in already. And in the interest of saving time, I've done a little bit of work within Photoshop Mix to mask out the background and to resize him slightly from there. I'm just going to add in a background image, and I'm going to browse to my Creative Cloud library. Let's give that a second to load. There we go. And we'll open up the Cmo Style Guide because I've got an image within here that I'm happy to use. So let's open up that file. Again, we'll give that a second. Dependent a little bit on the speed of the Wi-Fi here. So normally this happens very, very quickly when we're not all sharing the same network. And once this image loads into Photoshop Mix, what I can then do is actually share this directly from the mobile application to my desktop application, and it will come in as fully editable, non-destructive layers. So the masking that's been applied to Dara in the foreground will come in as a mask on Photoshop. So we'll just let that tick away, but actually, let's just jump straight over to Photoshop, and we'll imagine that the Wi-Fi was working there and it was here instantly. Try it at home. It does work very, very well indeed. Okay, so you can see here I've got the image sent over from Adobe Comp. As I mentioned, they're fully editable layers. I've also made a couple of different versions. Some of these are quite psychedelic, so excuse them, but we want to create something that's really vibrant and eye-catching. And I've already licensed some of these images in here, but just to show you how quick and easy it is, as I mentioned, to license an image from within the software. Here's the image that we've added from Adobe Stock. This is where it sits within the library. I can browse to that from the Layers panel. And then all I need to do is right-click on that image and literally choose License Image. And as I mentioned, then that will be replaced by the full resolution, high-quality image everywhere that I've used it from that library, and all of the edits that I've done to it will be applied to it. So super fast workflow, really nice. The other thing that I've done within Photoshop is to add a .png to the end of each of these layer groups. And then I'm going to kick off File, Generate, Image Assets, so the generator engine's happening in the background there for me. And that means that all of these different layers and versions are being exported in the background into a folder right next to the image itself. There they go. And you can see there's ticks next to these folders and this PSD document. And that's because I've got the Creative Cloud desktop application synchronizing in the background on my machine, which means this folder here, which is synchronized with Jamie in the Marketing Cloud via AEM assets, is synchronizing automatically so that he already has access to all of these assets. Thank you.
Great. So if we can come back and look at the Marketing Cloud, we should be able to see that these assets have already started to sync into that collaboration folder. But also, more importantly, we're actually running the Cmo.com site from Adobe Experience Manager. Now, not only have we got these assets in the Creative Cloud synced directly with the Marketing Cloud, they're also synced into our local installation of Adobe Experience Manager behind the firewall. So if we make changes to any one of these locations, then that change is going to be reflected across the different clouds so that everyone's got access to the latest and greatest versions of each of these assets. Coming back into the Marketing Cloud, what I want to do is actually, as I say, run some tests on those different assets. And to do that, I'm going to use Adobe Target. Now, Adobe Target is our optimization solution. And when I log into the solution in the Marketing Cloud, I can see all of the different activities, optimization activities that the Cmo.com team are running. Now, I could use something like automated personalization and let the algorithms simply determine which one of those 9 different versions of Dara works best. But in this case, I just want to run a straightforward A/B test with a few different variants. So I'll call it new homepage test. I'm nothing if not consistent with my boring names of tests and folders. And then we've reimagined the way in which Adobe Target works as well and the way in which you interact with it, because we've made it a very sort of a linear process to get these optimization activities up and running. All I've got to do is choose an audience, in this case, all visitors, but through the Profiles and Audiences core service in the Marketing Cloud, this could be an audience that's defined through any of the different Marketing Cloud solutions. And then I just connect that audience with these different experiences. And again, using the visual composer capabilities of Target, I just go straight to the Cmo.com site, and then I can interact with the different elements and choose which ones I want to optimize. So as I mouse over each element, you can see that I can interact with it. I'm going to create 4 different variants for this test, and in the interest of time and not wanting to get rugby tackled by Pep off the stage, I'm just going to change the image from this particular experience. And I'm going to choose this version here, because I think this has probably got a good chance of getting some additional registrations. So I'm happy with the different experiences that I've set up. And again, Target is reinforcing to me exactly what's going to happen with this particular test. I click Continue, and then all I have to do is tell it what I want to consider a success event in this particular test. We're going to look at conversion, and this data could come from Adobe Analytics, which we've got deployed on the site. But in the interest of keeping things simple for today's test, what I'm going to do is actually just say that when someone clicks on that register button, which I showed you right at the start of the demonstration, we'll count that as a success against the particular version of the creative that they've seen. So again, it's really easy for me to set these success metrics up myself. Now, that form is also connected with Adobe Campaign, so that as soon as somebody completes a registration on the Cmo.com site, they instantly have a profile in Adobe Campaign that we can then use to start communicating with them on different channels. So I'll hit the check mark, say I'm happy, and click Continue, and then Save and Close. And now you're going to need to imagine that some time has passed. We've run these different experiences on the site, and we're now logging back into Target in order to see which ones worked best. So coming in, I can see quite quickly that the experience D, the image that I chose last, has worked best. And I can see a detailed breakdown of exactly how and when people have engaged with the content when they've seen that particular version of the creative. Now, it's really easy for me to use the pin to board to share this information with everyone else on the Cmo.com team. But in this demo now, I'm just going to go and use that information myself to create an email campaign that we're going to send out using Adobe Campaign. Now, with Adobe Campaign, we can manage all of the tactics and the marketing activities that we have in our programs and campaigns. So again, coming into that, you can see I've got things like the newsletter that gets sent out, information about the Adobe Digital Index research. But for the purposes of this, we're looking at the subscriber activation campaign. And one of the goals that we've got is when we get someone to register for an account on cmo.com, we want them to then actually download our cmo.com app and hopefully engage with us on the mobile channel as well. Because most of the research that we see indicates that someone who engages with a brand on more than one channel tends to be a highly engaged customer, a highly engaged reader. And that's pretty valuable for the cmo.com brand. So I'll go into mobile activation. I've got all of the tactics that make this up, including the email, the landing page. But more importantly, I've also got a visual workflow that I can use to see exactly what's going to happen at each stage of this process. So all I have to do is select my audience. I'll drag and drop that. It's new subscribers. So we're saying when someone becomes a new subscriber to cmo.com, send them out an email. And you can see that it's quite bland at the moment. So let's go and edit that. And again, I'm editing the HTML here directly from Campaign. I could be doing this in Adobe Experience Manager, bringing in all of the personalization from that platform. I'm going to edit this image. And again, using the Marketing Cloud Assets core service, I've got access to all of those different assets that we were using, syncing across Experience Manager and also using for our optimization activities. So I'll select my winning creative. I'm happy with that. I click Confirm. The last thing that I want to do here is, because Campaign's connected into Profiles and Audiences core service, I can also share this information with the other solutions in the Marketing Cloud. If we think about this, what we've got is someone who has signed up for an account, responded to an email that we've sent, downloaded our app. Once they get to the end of this process, they're potentially really valuable for us to communicate with, but also to do things like lookalike modeling against. And in order to do that, what I can do is drag onto the canvas this save audience and then double click. And now I've got a new audience, and I'll call this highly engaged, if I could type, highly engaged customers. And then the important thing to look at here is this save this as a Marketing Cloud audience checkbox. Because once I do that, then this audience is now available to solutions like Audience Manager to go and do lookalike modeling and try and find other people who look like this newly registered and newly engaged customer and bring them to the cmo.com platform. Now, this was a whistle-stop tour through the Creative Cloud and the Marketing Cloud. And what we've hopefully shown you is that we've created a seamless way for you to reimagine the workflows that you have from a content marketing and a creative point of view, and that the Creative Cloud and the Marketing Cloud, with those core services, can certainly support you in your aims for your digital marketing and content strategy. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Pep, I think.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Iona.